While we all wait for the NBA season to start, here is a look back on some of our top-tier front court player comparisons. Enjoy.
A lot of people doubted him just because of his frame, but then you always had Reggie Miller as that reference point to say, okay, if Reggie Miller is skin and bones but can dominate offensively, I think Durant had that benefit of the doubt. And unfortunately, guys, Greg Oden was the Sam Bowie of his draft.
Oh, yeah.
And
Unfortunately.
Kevin Durant was the Michael Jordan in the same comparison.
We could never know exactly how good Greg Oden ever was because he wasn't really healthy. When he was healthy when he was younger, he was still pretty raw.
That is true.
Well, 16 assists is his career high. That's right? That's correct?
I believe that is what I said.
Yeah,
I can double check that.
That's surprising to me because I never really thought of him as a facilitator.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get me wrong, he has a skill set for it. And when we think of Kevin Durant, we think of like this mid-range killer. Like in the mid-range, he's lethal. But I do have a nugget for Lucas and the rest of you guys.
Okay.
Ooh. Did you know Kevin Durant was the youngest player in NBA history to win a scoring title?
I did not, but I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
That's a good
I
nugget.
believe that was his, let me double check here.
07-08. No. That was his rookie year.
It was his third season when he averaged 30 points per game in the 09-10 season.
Wow, like you said, it's so hard to pinpoint one particular accolade because he has so many. I think the scoring title, I think that's a big deal just because of all the great scorers that have been in the league since he's played, whether you're talking about Carmelo, whether you're talking about LeBron. But I think Kevin Durant, when you think about his skill set, we know he's a lethal scorer, but I think how many different ways that he can do it is so impressive, whether it's mid-range, pull-up three, driving to the basket. I think his scoring titles are impressive. The MVP, or at least the championship, it's debatable. I think it's a lightning rod for controversy because he decided to team up literally with the team that he could not beat. I know Stephen A. Smith bangs that drum until the sticks break apart, right? But I think that could be a slight stain on his legacy, simply because Jordan never joined Boston. He didn't join Detroit. He didn't go to the Lakers. Jordan was like, I want to beat the best. I don't want to join the best. Mm-hmm. So I think that could be a stain on his legacy. But overall, he's a phenomenal player, unstoppable offensive player. And it shows with all the awards that he's earned.
Yeah, I agree with that. And it's interesting. After the Achilles injury that we mentioned earlier, he was all NBA second team. And then arguably one of his best playoff series after the Achilles injury was the infamous Game 7 toe, where they lost in OT to the Bucks. So, but he was unstoppable that series. All right, Lucas, what stands out?
He's never tried to be league. Like, he's not a shot hunter. Before Kevin Durant hit his prime, I told myself, okay, Carmelo Anthony's the best pure scorer. I can't say that anymore.
By the time KD came and played those LeBron teams, it was just like not really fair. It was fun to watch. I'm glad he got the chips. I'm glad he got the finals MVPs. But I mean, single coverage, it's not really that fun to watch when you got like the two best shooters of all time around you, the spacing, defensive player of the year. So it was a little like an all-star game.
Yeah.
So I felt like you almost rooted against them, which you don't want to because they're such likable guys.
Yeah.
I want to talk about how it ended here. I always believed that it was only a pit stop, kind of like how LeBron went to Miami to learn how to win. I think KD wanted to do the same thing. But the reason why, because KD was on Draymond's podcast, the reason why they decided that it was the end then was not the blow up between him and Draymond. That wasn't why it ended. KD decided to end it after that was because how the front office took care of it. I'll also say, in my belief, I think there was always a thing is while Kevin Durant was clearly the best player on that team, it was never his team.
Right. I remember him saying that. He never felt like he was part of what they had going. And
Red Auerbach is considered one of the best coaches and general managers ever. And for him to foresee Larry Bird being that much of a franchise setter for the Boston Celtics for the next generation, which is the 80s. It was a good job on his part because Larry Bird is synonymous with Boston Celtics, and Boston Celtics is synonymous with Larry Bird.
Absolutely. And Ben, what stood out to you?
I kind of want to know more about like what Indiana State, like it's not what stood out. It's just like I'm curious of like, because they're not as prominent now as a team. So I'm curious of like what.
I don't even think they're D1 AA. I think they're D2.
No, they're not. They're I'm sending you. I have to send you guys this kid. So they're D1. They're just in one of those smaller conferences,
like the A10 or something.
No, A10 is actually mid level, like even smaller. Like I'm talking like Ryder, Lafayette, like Patriot League. They're like that. They're like Patriot League.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's interesting he went to that school. You're right. That he chose. He was at Indiana. I actually didn't know that.
Yeah.
And then he transferred, and then for personal reasons. So I think that's a cool story.
Yeah, I didn't even know that either. I thought he just committed to Indiana State, and then in the article that I read on ESPN, Larry Bird he put it out there that people speculated that there was a rift between him and Bobby Knight, but that wasn't it. It's not like they didn't get along. He just was homesick and he just wasn't ready to be away from home. So the one thing I'll say, what surprised me is the whole being drafted while he was still in school and Red Auerbach having the patience to say, you know what, this kid is worth waiting for. And as you heard in the clip, there was like speculation and like, is this going to work out? Will we be able to sign him? There was another thing that you guys didn't hear that I just wanted to share. Another team had 2 picks in that draft. It was Portland, but they had the number 1 pick. And I think Lucas mentioned Michael Thompson, right? He was that. So Portland had 2 picks just like Boston did. People speculate if Red Auerbach didn't have 2 picks, would they have chosen Larry Bird and waited? But because they had 2 picks, the 6 and the 8, they were like, let's go ahead. And if we miss on it, we miss on it. We at least still have the 8 pick. So that's something to consider. Like his shot form, if you're comparing Luka to Larry, I don't know if you guys agree with me, but their shot is very similar, like a slow release. Larry Bird's was kind of right.
I think Larry has a higher release point, but how they release, I think you're right.
Right. it's not like a Ray Allen jump shot, like textbook, or a Reggie Miller jump shot.
It's not a quick release. No, it's a slow build up.
It's a slow build up, but they're both accurate when they shoot. They're both reliable scorers. The vision was always there. And just real quick about the competitive thing that you guys were talking about, Magic and Larry, that rivalry, they didn't even shake hands the first time they played in the NBA back in 1980.
I believe I'm not saying that hands. Magic isn't competitive, but like there's a different type. You know what I mean?
I think the point is like Larry, it takes 2 to tango. Larry didn't want to shake his hand either. Mm-hmm. And here's one, I'll one up you on that. Bird was so competitive that when he signed a shoe deal with Converse, which was the same brand that Magic Johnson had sneakers with, Bird made sure that he was paid exactly $1 more than Magic Johnson. So Maurice, that whole story with Mikhail, it resonates. It's like across the board, very competitive.
Yeah.
This is making me want to watch the Winning Time. I haven't seen it yet.
It focuses less on the basketball, but it does bring out the pettiness between Bird and Magic for sure. Well, you bring up the racial factor here. A funny side note: who's seen the original Space Jam?
I did. I think we all did.
Yeah.
Who's not seen it?
Okay. Do you remember the part where Larry and MJ were golfing with Bill Murray?
Yes. I know what you're going to say.
And Larry and, Bill was talking to MJ like, hey, you know what? I can't play because I'm white. He's like, Larry's white. He's like, no, he's what was the term?
He's like, Larry's clear.
Clear, yeah, he's clear. He's clear. He's reflected. He's something. It was funny, but it's true. Like most people don't think of Larry Bird in terms of his game. They don't see him as a white guy play.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
So
and to that, there was a controversial moment when Isaiah Thomas said that if Larry Bird wasn't white, he would be considered just another basketball player.
Right.
And I think Isaiah regretted that because Larry Bird can ball.
Yes.
He can ball.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't matter what his skin color was. He was a baller, and he was one of the best players of his era. He could put buckets on anybody, from Magic to Dominique Wilkins to eliminating Michael Jordan and the Bulls from the playoffs. Larry Bird was a bad man. It didn't matter what his skin color was.
And Maurice, you mentioned Isaiah. I think Dennis Rodman jumped in on that train and created some racial tension. But you love that Larry didn't retort. He didn't come back with a snarky remark. He let his play do his talking, and the rings and titles show for it.
They missed it from this team that they would get the next year, and that would be the 80-81 team. That would be Kevin McHale and Robert Parrish. Now, this would form, I would think, the best front court in basketball history. Anybody have an objection to that?
What, Bird, Parrish, and McHale?
Yeah.
Hang on. Give me a minute.
I have one.
Oh, go ahead, man.
I would say it's Duncan. The first couple years, Duncan Robinson would have been better than them.
Well, no, we're talking about all three. Who was the three?
Sean Elliott?
Nah, not Sean Elliott.
No, but I think when I think of front court, I think
we're
more
talking
center,
about
power
forwards
forward
and centers. We're talking about both 3, 4,
and
5.
They would have to be all Hall of Famers. I mean, because they.
No one's touching that. Yeah, I always thought it was power forward and center, but
no, front court
maybe it is all three.
Small forward, at least in historical sense. I don't know if you would consider that in modern day, but historical sense.
Yeah, and it's also kind of strange that Larry Bird was always labeled as a power forward, but
he only played it for the first half of his career. He switched over in '84 to small forward, according to Basketball Reference.
Okay.
Who played in the early '80s? Is Dr. J was technically a small forward?
Yes.
Yeah. So it's
then
Dr. J,
Moses,
and Barkley.
You technically had a year of Barkley.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're saying 84, 85. Was he on that?
Yeah.
Barkley was in 84.
Barkley was a rookie with Dr. J and Moses.
Well, who was the before Barkley? Who was there before? Was it McGinnis?
That's what I was going to ask. When they won
was
the
it George McGinnis?
So Ben, what stands out to you about Joel's experience at Kansas and obviously entering the draft so young?
I think the defensive player of the year in his 1 year, given how he'd only been playing basketball 3 years, the fact that his defensive IQ was like already there, getting defensive player of the year in a major conference. Yeah, just his development, it's incredible how his game has transformed to now.
Look, when he was coming out of college, it was surprising he slipped down to 3, and that was due to injury. But the Sixers got lucky, and I think he went to the perfect situation too, because the Sixers were in a rebuild. So I think if he had gone to either Milwaukee or I believe it was Cleveland ahead of the Sixers, I think his career might have came out different.
Well, as we see now, his game has expanded so much. He's taking more mid-range jumpers. We'll get into that. More threes. I mean, he took one in Kansas. And I would say he's an above-average three-point. I wouldn't say above average, but he's an efficient three-point shooter now.
Yeah, I think Embiid playing at Kansas alongside Andrew Wiggins, and Andrew Wiggins seemed to be getting more love and attention for obvious reasons. He was more polished and he was a 2-guard. He had a wide array of skills that Embiid did not develop yet. But to see Embiid at that young age playing at one of the biggest colleges in basketball, NCAA history, and to see him come so far is quite impressive. I think him being so athletic and
the free throws are pretty astounding. The volume, and I think we'll look back on this guy's career and be like, wow, this guy was efficient.
I'm going to go the defensive route simply because we know how adroit Embiid can be with the offensive side of the skill set that he's been able to emulate, taking different moves from various players throughout his career, whether it's Dirk Nowitzki, whether it's Kobe Bryant, whether it's Hakeem Olajuwon. Offensively, he is a juggernaut. Defensively, though, I remember this season, I screen recorded different parts of a game, I think against the Portland Trailblazers, and Joel Embiid impacts so many shots throughout a game. I think people kind of overlook it. Not every play ends with a block or a steal and has to be considered a phenomenal, impactful play. Embiid, he really makes guys think twice about even entering the lane. So when I think about his accolades, Ben, that you mentioned, his defensive stats and his impact on any game that he plays is great.
Maybe. Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah, you're going to go, Lucas?
No, I was just going to say, yeah, maybe. Look, the Sixers for all the good draft picks that they've made, they've also had some big whiffs. So,
Yes, exactly. Yeah, Jahlil Okafor, Nerlens Noel. I mean, serviceable NBA players, don't get me wrong, but for where they were drafted, kind of disappointing.
Yeah, I'd say Zaire Smith was the biggest.
Yeah.
Michael Bridges, because he's a perfect fit for Joel's game. And I'm with you, Ryan. It's about timing. It's about roster construction. And
what stands out to you about his college career and obviously the trade that happened that ended up having him go to Atlanta instead of Utah? Lucas?
The trade. I mean, look, you don't hear about. I don't know who those other two guys are, which is a problem. I would say so. They don't register on my basketball, historical relevance. Maybe John Drew once, but like the point is that you traded the third overall pick for two essentially no names for the third overall pick plus $1 million, which $1 million back in the 80s actually was really significant. So
yeah,
that was a big deal. But to lose out on a guy like Wilkins, I mean, good grief, this guy was in his prime for about 11 years. I mean, he not in his prime, but like was dominant for about 11 years. So for me, that's the mind blowing part.
Ben, what about you?
I had to look it up. I was introduced to Dominique Wilkins on the NBA Superstars VHS. You guys remember that as a kid?
Yes, I do remember that. Yeah.
And him and obviously we knew Jordan, we knew Barkley, but he stood out like, who is this guy? Like the most. And the reason why we probably don't know of him is because of what he said is his teammates probably weren't strong enough to contend. And to me, what stands out the most, Uriah, is that the Lakers didn't pick him. Because I'll be honest with you, like that team probably would have won more chips if they had Dominique instead of James Worthy. And James Worthy is incredible.
I was going to say, James Worthy was pretty darn good.
That's a hot take there, Ben.
No, Dominique in the 80s was a much superior player.
I mean, they won 5 championships with that core.
But they also had Kareem, Magic, Cooper.
No, they won 4 with
Scott.
Well, the first thing that was interesting was he led the league in scoring. Now, this is in the mid-'80s. It was 85, 86.
86, yep, 85, 86.
And this was the year Jordan got injured.
Yeah.
So he missed the majority of the season. And Dominique averaged 30. This is Lakers, Celtics, mid-run 80s right here.
Yeah.
So that was surprising because I didn't know that. He really came out guns blazing early on in his career.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, well, his rookie year, he averaged 17 and a half, and then 21 his second year, then 27 by his third year.
Yeah, that's a big jump. Like his nickname says, a human highlight reel. We always talk about Michael Jordan in those days, but Dominique was an exciting player to watch. He could score, he could fill it up, and he could dunk on somebody.
I was about to say, slam dunk competition between him and Jordan.
Yeah, he had a run there from about 85 to 90, where he was pretty much in all those dunk contests.
But Karl Malone was putting up numbers back then. Larry Bird. There was a lot of great scorers. He never got an MVP the way KD did. And for obvious reasons, you had Magic, Michael, and Bird.
Charles
Barkley was doing his thing. But yeah, I think Dominique being the slam dunk champion, that was fun. Watching him go back and forth. And I always loved seeing footage of Spud Webb, which was a teammate. Maurice is going to get into that later. Yeah. To see Dominique thrilled watching his teammate take the dunk contest. I thought that was fun. But Dominique was like the number of all-stars that he had is phenomenal and quite impressive.
I think one highlight that I always loved, and it was always underappreciated, was the highlight when he dunked on Larry Bird. You remember that, Uriah?
Do I? Of course I do. Yeah, it's always fun to watch Larry Bird get dunked on.
Yeah. Let me start by asking this question. This is a quick question. Who has Dominique Wilkins played with and had the most wins with?
Doc Rivers?
Ben?
I'm going to go... Is it Spud Webb?
Right?
It's Spud Webb?
Really?
No, it's not. No, it's not Spud Webb. I want to go, right? Who?
I'm not cheating, but I think I'm correct. I'm going to say Kevin Willis.
You are correct, sir.
I didn't know where Kevin Willis played.
I didn't know that.
That's a great. That's good, Uriah. That's impressive.
I told you, I watched the Hawks. I watched Dominique in his heyday, and he was always by his side, Kevin Willis.
Yeah,
I was going to go the other direction, but I think he played for the Spurs and go Steve Smith, but I think they overlapped.
283 wins Kevin Willis and Dominique Wilkins has together. Kevin Willis was a nice role player back in the day. Other Hawks players that Dominique Wilkins played with. Moses Malone played 2 seasons.
Oh, wow.
Moses Malone, one of the most underappreciated great players in NBA history. I really like Moses Malone. Tree Rollins, Stacey Augmon, the Plastic Man. Mookie Blaylock, Reggie Theus, of course, Spud Webb. He actually played 1 season, and we don't even remember this. He played 1 season with Kenny the Jet Smith. 89-90.
Wow.
89-90.
That's right. I do remember that. So soon as a young adolescent getting into his teen years, Luka got an invitation to play with Real Madrid in the Mini Copa tournament. Now, when he was 13, he got a triple-double in a championship game, another over-under. In that triple-double, how many points did he have? Over-under 48 points. Ben?
Ooh.
I mean, that's what I'm going to go over.
Luka.
You know,
I'm looking at the screen.
Though. You know, it's funny though, because his name is Luka, my name is Lucas, and I find in Eastern Europe that Lucas is spelled with a K instead of the C like mine is.
Okay.
Because I actually know a Lucas in Germany.
Okay.
So his name is spelled the same way. Granted, his family's from Greece, but that's a long story. Yeah. Anyway.
Over under 48, Lucas.
I'm going to say under. I feel like this is one of the ones that you're trying to trap us on.
Yeah, I'm going to go under as well. That's crazy, though. 48 at 13?
Yeah. We'll get ready for this crazy. Ben, you're correct.
What?
It's over. In the championship game, he had a triple-double, a 54-point triple-double.
At 13?
Yes. Luka was a bad man as a 13-year-old.
Hold up, was this with the adults or was this with like the youth league?
This was like a top tier youth league. It wasn't exactly adults, but it was from what I researched.
Sometimes they do play with adults that young, so that's why.
Right, from what I read, it was like there was still a youth league, but it was like the top notch youth league.
That's still pretty impressive.
Yeah.
I watch a lot of Luka, so he's a guy I put on, him and like Ja Morant.
Okay.
Or whenever they're on, I'll try and watch their games. And nothing really surprises me because I watch it a lot. I just think his usage, and I like that you asked Maurice about the point guard thing. He is a point guard in the way James Harden kind of was, but you just don't see point guards that do everything for you.
Yeah.
In the way that I'd say Harden's the only guy recently that you've seen. Houston Harden. That scores and facilitates. And yeah, he's just as good of a passer as he is a scorer. He had a crazy stat line. Do you guys remember that? It was like 60, 20, 10. Do you remember that?
I remember that, yeah.
It was an OT last year. And that just shows you how useful he is to his team. And then the 73-point game, I put it on my phone. I watched it. They needed all 73 points to win. So unfortunately, it's not his fault. But it would be, I think the NBA equivalent or the American basketball player equivalent would be like almost like playing on like Kentucky at 15, 16.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like that's kind of what it feels like. Like he was playing against and he was playing already against with NBA players that had played in the league. So it's almost not even a really comparison, but that's what it feels like. So he had a couple years ahead of even what we have out in the States.
I mean, even the top, like maybe the AAU circuit might be the closest thing that we got, but like not really. Like I think G League Ignite is probably better, but like you said, you can only do that at like 17, 18. So not the same. That being said, the biggest thing that stuck out to me is the first team All NBAs. Now I knew that he made it last year, and I thought that he made it at least 2 times, but like still. But I mean, the numbers support it. I mean, the guy's been dominant, and he's only gotten better. After his first season, averaged no less than 27 points per game.
Wow.
And if you round it up, it's 28.
Yeah.
His career average right now is 28.5 points per game in 6 seasons. That includes his rookie season when he only averaged 21 points.
Right.
And I'm going to skip the 2020 season because that was wonky for many reasons. I'm going to go to the 2021 season. Once again, Jalen Brunson, who I would think would have more wins with Luka, but Jalen is a kind of a late bloomer. Would you guys agree?
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah.
JJ Redick, Josh Richardson was also on this team. Pretty much the same team. I think when it comes to Luka and his roster construction, because he is such a great facilitator and a big guard, they've always surrounded him with enough shooting, but not enough defense.
Yeah.
And as we go through the list here with the teammates, not a lot of great defensive players. Dorian Finney-Smith is a good defensive player, but not enough defense, especially at the big position, to help Luka.
Yeah, they kind of broke up that conference final team. I don't know what they were doing in their front office, because that's tough to make the conference finals.
Well, they thought that they would the whole entire Jalen Brunson thing, that was because they thought that nobody would offer him the money. Mm-hmm. And basically, as soon as he got offered the money, he didn't even give the Mavs a chance to. And I don't blame Brunson. They didn't believe in him. Get your money. Yeah, get your money. Be a star. Because honestly, would he have been as big of a star as he is now? We're talking about him arguably as the second best point guard in the East.
No.
We wouldn't be talking about him in the same way if he was still next to Luka.
Mm-hmm. But we never asked the question, why did Houston draft Olajuwon over Michael Jordan? Because Olajuwon was supremely talented coming out of Houston. And there was no doubt about that first pick.
Maurice, I just wanted to piggyback off that. I mean, the real answer to your question is because centers were more valued than shooting guards at the time.
True.
Absolutely.
That's the real answer to your question. But I mean, in hindsight, is 2020. Obviously, Jordan should have gone first. And if I remember correctly, Barkley was in that draft too. So it was a really loaded draft. And the Sixers got that because they made a trade with the Clippers earlier. Olajuwon, 5.5 blocks a game. Is that what you said, Uriah?
That's wild. That's a wild stat.
That is a very wild stat. I don't think that has ever even been remotely close since then. If it has, I'd be surprised. Except maybe one of those like 7'5" guys that play at the Division I AA. But still, that is crazy to think about.
Yeah.
Yeah, what stands out to me, the blocks and the rebounds in 40, because college is only 40 minutes. That's nuts. It's almost 6 blocks in 40 minutes. And yeah, he went over MJ, arguably the GOAT. And they say that 84 is the greatest draft of all time. And going through Olajuwon, you're kind of like, I get how this guy went number one. Like, I honestly, some of these seasons, I wouldn't pick him over MJ, but I would pick him over the other guys. The other thing that stood out to me was he got to stay in Houston.
Yeah, I would just like to add, for what Ben was saying, I don't think there was an asterisk at all on that 94 or 95 Rockets teams. I think at that particular point in his career, Hakeem Olajuwon was so dominant. I don't think a Jordan-led team with Bill Cartwright or whoever their center was could stop.
No disrespect, Bill.
No disrespect. I don't think they could have stopped Hakeem in his style of play.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's a good point. I think that the hardware that Olajuwon has, comparing these two players, right now it seems unfair for Olajuwon to put together so many seasons of being productive on both sides of the ball, MVP, Defensive Player of the Year. I do think it's because of the era. It would be very challenging for Joel Embiid to lead the league in blocks as well as rebounding, simply because the game has changed so much. There's so much more perimeter play, so many more three-pointers. So you have less opportunities to get blocks, just because in the 80s, guys weren't shooting three-pointers as much. Guys were going into the paint, trying to make layups, challenging the defenders in Houston. So I think it's going to be tough for Embiid to catch up, but his story is yet to be written. He still has a lot more basketball to play. So when you think about statistics, you think about productivity on both sides of the ball. Hakeem Olajuwon was a force to be reckoned with, especially in the 80s and the early 90s. But I think the one stat, Lucas, you mentioned that stood out was the rebounds. I think the career high was 25. He was banging down low against centers like Mark Eaton, against centers like Jack Sigma, against centers like obviously Patrick Ewing, David Robinson, Shaquille O'Neal. And to be honest with you, to get 25 rebounds in that era is remarkable.
Going on the rebound stat there, Uri, he led the league twice in rebounds with 14 and 13 and a half.
Wow.
And from 88 to 90. So, and also he led the league in blocks 3 times. 3 out of 4 year span. So, Maurice, what do you think about all those stats?
I think that's a testament to his, well, first of all, conditioning. Because,
absolutely,
yeah, when you're that big, and we see it with Joel, it's hard to rebound. It's hard to be active defensively and even attempt block shots. And then on the other end, still score, be your primary offensive focus on the other end. That's pretty amazing. And then in the 95 season, they brought in Clyde Drexler, who was another Hall of Famer that played with Olajuwon, I want to say 3 years?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 3 years, 90 till 98, yeah. And Charles Barkley for 4 years. So he's played with a lot of talented players. And, of course, Vince Carter with his last season in Toronto. So he's played with a lot of guys who complement his skill set. And that's a big difference between him and Joel. The guys just haven't really complimented him. But we will say Joel has a lot of time left. But for Hakeem's career, the complementary players that he's been with is really good.
Look, I was a big Sam Cassell fan when I was a young teen and all that, when he was towards the end of his career. I love Sam Cassell. That was the only teammate I got to really see that had a prominent role with him. But, I mean, look, like you said, the team was built around him with three-point shooting. That's how we do it today. Kudos to their front office. I don't know who their GM or who was in charge of the front office at the time, but they clearly knew how to build a team.
I agree with the roster construction. Like, they figured it out, but there's about 6 years where he was either a first round exit or he didn't make the playoffs from 88 to 93. And that's clearly roster construction. So I think they figured it out in the early mid 90s to just put like 3-and-D and guards around him.
So those were some highlights from our Season 1 episodes, which featured several Hall of Fame forwards and centers. Give us a follow on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Please leave a review and let us know what you think about our NBA star comparisons. Don't forget to mark your calendars. Season 2 of NBA Now and Then starts on October 27th, the same week that the NBA season begins. We have comparisons that include Chris Paul to Jason Kidd, Kawhi Leonard to Scottie Pippen, Lauri Markkanen to Dirk Nowitzki, and Tyrese Maxey to John Wall. This has been NBA Now and Then, the greatest comparisons. Thanks for listening.